Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background, and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy: How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is the MBTI personality type assessment of Jimi Hendrix. Again, when it comes to the 16 MBTI personality types, they can be grouped into four main ones. The first one are sensor judgers, the second, sensor perceivers, the third, intuitive thinkers, and the last one, intuitive feelers. To me, Jimi Hendrix was a sensor perceiver, and I will explain why. Again, I have some notes on screen so I don't miss anything. Johnny Allen Hendrix was born in Seattle, Washington on November 27, 1942. He was an American musician, singer, and songwriter. His mainstream career spanned only 4 years. However, he's widely regarded as one of the most influential electric guitarists in the history of popular music and one of the most celebrated musicians of the 20th century. His parents had limited means and they had a total of 5 children. His mother married young, she was only 16 years old, and both parents were alcoholics, so it was a violent and unstable household. The children were given up to foster care and adoption. Hendrix was mostly cared for by family members and friends. His parents divorced when he was only 9 years old, and his father gained custody of him and one of his brothers. He was a shy, sensitive boy, and he was deeply affected by his life experiences. In 1958, Hendrix completed his studies at Washington Junior High School and began attending but did not graduate from Garfield High School. At age 15, Hendrix acquired his first acoustic guitar and played for hours daily, watching others and learning from more experienced guitarists. In 1961, he enlisted in the US Army but was discharged the following year, so it was not for him. He drank alcohol and took drugs such as LSD. After 1967, he regularly used cannabis, hashish, LSD, and amphetamines and drank a lot of alcohol, so he probably was an alcoholic as well. And when Hendrix drank to excess or mixed drugs with alcohol, often he became angry and violent. Soon after, he moved to Clarksville and then Nashville, Tennessee, and began playing gigs in that area. Hendrix was inspired by American rock and roll and electric blues. He favored overdriven amplifiers with high volume and was instrumental in popularizing the previously undesirable sounds caused by guitar amplifier feedback. In late 1966, he moved to England after bassist Chad Chandler of The Animals became his manager. Within months, Hendrix had formed the power trio, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and landed 3 UK top 10 hits. He achieved fame in the US after his performance at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. In 1969, he was the world's highest paid performer at the Woodstock Festival. Hendrix was the recipient of several music awards during his lifetime and posthumously. He had a series of girlfriends but never married and never had children. And he accidentally died in London on September 18, 1970 at only the age of 27 from a barbiturate-related asphyxia. When we look at Jimi Hendrix, his life is typical of sensor perceivers. So he was very much interested in the arts at an early age. I was watching the documentary saying that he was really a great artist, not only in terms of playing the guitar, maybe, so songwriting, but it had to even with like being to draw and be able to express himself artistically. So you'll see that they have this strong drive. They don't need to go through a lot of training to become great performers. So you'll see in the case of Jimi Hendrix, he didn't even finish high school, but I think that has to do with having such an unstable household situation. So both his parents were alcoholics. He was basically raised by family and relatives. So the fact that he didn't finish high school was not so much that maybe he didn't have the capacities, that it was too much stress for him to just, get to this level. He was concerned about just getting some food on the table and even having some clothes on his back. So that was an extreme case. Now, we'll see with Jimi Hendrix, if we were to determine whether he was a masculine energy versus a feminine energy. I would say that if we look at his demeanor, he was someone who was rather sensitive and gentle. So I would say that he was most likely a feminine energy. And he also seemed very much the artist, in the sense that he didn't seem like someone who wanted fame and adulation. He was someone who really wanted to express himself. And you'll see that with feminine energy is that most of their decisions are based on their own ethics and their own morals. So Jimi Hendrix probably had introverted feeling either in the first or second place when it comes to his function stack. And when we actually see him not only in interviews but even performing, you can tell that when he's speaking, he doesn't come alive. He's not someone who wants the spotlight on him. He wanted to play his guitar. His guitar was the star. So I would say not only that Jimi Hendrix was a feminine energy, but he was most likely an introvert. So you'll see that even when we watch the documentary about him, he didn't really enjoy the rock star lifestyle of just one album after another and touring. It's very exhausting for someone who's an introvert, especially if they had a lot of insecurities already. Like they said that he didn't like to talk about his family situation. So there was a sense of him not fully feeling accepted or a sense of safety. So and combined with the fact that he was an introvert, all that made him that the lifestyle of not having a sense of being anchored anywhere, especially as a performer like a rock star, was not a situation that was healthy for him. So I would say that based on this information, Jimi Hendrix was most likely an ISFP. So I would say that it is tragic that he died so early, and I think that it has to do with the fact that he did not get the right support as a feminine, but also an introvert, and the fact that the industry really has to do with really taking an artist and pushing them to the limits. And I was watching this documentary where he was interviewed and was saying that how many times did you have a nervous breakdown? He said, well, several times. And the fact that he used of drugs and alcohol is probably a way to medicate the pain that he felt. So to summarize, when it comes to Jimi Hendrix, I would say that he's a sense perceiver, he's a creative type, he's that person who is a natural performer. He's someone also who likes to push the boundaries. That's why people look up to him as one of the greatest guitarists of the 20th century, because he brought a new angle, new techniques that people didn't see before. So that's typical of sense perceivers. And when it comes to whether he's a feminine or masculine energy, he comes across as someone who's very sensitive, gentle. So that is mostly someone who is a feeler. Whether or not he is an introvert versus extrovert, I would say that Jimi Hendrix comes across as an introvert, because really the star was not him but his guitar. When you see him perform, he didn't so much enjoy the spotlight, but he did share his artistry with his audience. So let me know if you agree or disagree with this personality type assessment by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.